Welcome back. 34 minutes past the hour, and the Queen has died. The Queen Elizabeth II has passed away at the age of 96. On the line with us from the DC Radio, sorry, I don't have the bio in front. DC Radio what? Company. There you go, is Victoria Jones. Victoria, welcome back. It's only been a short while since we spoke, but it's always wonderful to hear your voice. Although this is probably more of a sad occasion for you. Your thoughts on the passing of Queen Elizabeth II?
It's shocking, and it's also very expected. I never thought she'd see 2022 out. Mm-hmm. I didn't think that she would live long after Philip died, but I'm very upset. She's the only queen, obviously, that I've ever known. So speaking personally, you can't imagine always having had one queen, even though you're now a citizen of the United States.
Sure.
It's quite extraordinary. So, the queen is dead. Long live the king.
Yeah. So
it is as simple as that.
Yeah, and I think, there's kind of a universal understanding that she's been an extraordinary person in that role. I mean, she's done just an extraordinary job in the role of queen. What is this going to mean for Charles? He's the king now, right? Or will be shortly?
He is king. He is king immediately. Mm-hmm. I mean, you may have seen, I'm sure you've seen Shakespeare and others, so you've seen how when a monarch dies, instantly they say, the king is dead, and they turn to whoever is standing there.
Although there is an investiture ceremony coming up soon, isn't there?
Yes, there will be. There will be a crowning, and there'll be a funeral, and probably the person who's most, but will never, ever say it publicly, ticked off about this is Prime Minister Liz Truss.
Because?
About the timing.
Oh, because it's taking away from her
this
PR?
Is so inappropriate. Yes, because this was to be a big day for the announcement of her energy plan, and nobody's going to take any notice of it.
Oh.
But she, as a conservative also, will recognize that this has huge implications for the future of the country and for everything that she does in the next several months.
How much power does Charles have, and how might that influence British policy, domestic and foreign?
Well, in terms of executive power, he doesn't, because that rests with Parliament. Mm-hmm. That's the way the system works. The only time that actually the Queen had 30 minutes of pure, absolute power yesterday in between Boris Johnson leaving and Liz Truss arriving. She could have done anything. She could have said all ducks get to have citizenship if she wanted to. But it was fascinating. She really did, because there was no prime minister. Would have been very funny, really. So, but that's the way the system works, and that's why people like it, because it's a separation. But, he has said controversial things in the past. He's been more outspoken than his mother. And so he's thought to lean particular ways on some issues. He's certainly environmentally very conscious. So some conservatives are a bit suspicious of him.
Might that work with or against Liz Truss's new energy policies that she's going to roll out today?
Well, in a way, he doesn't have a say in that, because he is just the state head. He doesn't actually have a say. However, she does have, in theory, to have a weekly meeting with the monarch.
Right. Well, and she's got the power. He's got the influence, right?
Yes. And if he says things like, which he could say politely, I don't think much of fracking, to be honest with you. that could make for very awkward meetings.
Interesting. And Charles is no spring chicken. I mean, he's in his 70s, is he not, if I'm remembering correctly?
Yes, I don't remember his exact age, but he's definitely up there.
Yeah, so, which means that William is now being groomed to be the king in waiting in a very serious way, right?
Yes, and he has been for some time. For a few years now, decisions have been made by a sort of trifecta of Queen Elizabeth, Prince Charles, and Prince William. They have had phone calls, three-way phone calls. Yes, they have. They've made a large number of decisions together, and their closest, like their top advisors, the three top advisors, have also been working extremely close together, particularly as the Queen's physical health has got worse. Her mental health has never declined.
Yeah, which is quite remarkable for somebody 96. But it's not impossible. I mean, my wife's mother's 93, and her brain works better than mine on some days. I mean, she is sharp as a tack. I'm so impressed. So,
wow.
it's a great thing. I have a final question here. We're talking with Victoria Jones, the chief Washington analyst for the D.C. radio company. Victoria Jones, D.C. on Twitter. Queen Elizabeth just died at the age of 96. Are there any indications that Charles has problems with his health, or that he might be inclined? I mean, it's not uncommon, I guess, in the history of the British monarchy for an ailing or aging monarch, or even not, to pass along the monarchy to a child. Or is it? How common is that? How long do you expect Charles to reign before William steps in?
It is uncommon. I mean, it's more common for and I'm not saying this is going to happen now, I'm talking a few hundred years ago. It's more common for a monarch to get knocked off, quite honestly, by another member of...
Right. Back when they were all warlords.
Yeah, that's more common. But no, it's not common. I mean, and Charles was brought up with a similar sense of duty and of believing that it is his absolutely God-given duty to be king. Right. So I would be astonished, even though the popular sentiments with William, if he hands the baton, I'd be very surprised.
Yeah. I've heard different people make different arguments, but my personal sense, and of course I'm not a close observer of this like you are, and I didn't grow up in the country like you did, but my personal sense of it is that Charles has, very strong opinions about how things should be, particularly with regard to the environment, and that he has always wanted to be king, that he's been the king in waiting, and perhaps has even been frustrated by, particularly over the last decade, by his mother hanging on as much as she has. Do you think that's a reasonable understanding, or do you think Charles is more ambivalent about becoming king?
No, I think he wants to be king. I mean, I don't think he wanted his mother to, pop off, but I think he's wanted to be king.
Well, definitely. I thought he wanted her to pass it along to him.
Be king.
Did you?
I don't know the truth about that.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now, Elizabeth's great-great-grandmother, Queen Victoria, she lived an inordinate long time, and the Prince of Wales, her son, wanted to be king, and he made no bones about the fact that he, was quite keen for things to happen.
Right, but Charles has been more circumspect. Fascinating stuff.
Yes, and I was very close to his mother.
Yeah. Well, Victoria, condolences on the loss of the Queen of the country in which you were born, and thank you so much for dropping by and sharing your perspectives with us today.